In this video, I'm going to outline the exact formula which we've used again and again to create high-priced coaching offers which make over $400K a month right now in 2026. My name is Sai, CNG Blackburn, and I've been building coaching businesses since 2014. Collectively, we make about $450,000 a month. We had thousands of clients go through our coaching offers, our programs, our retreats, our high-ticket offers as well. And we've collected thousands of case studies, testimonials, celebrity endorsements as well. But all of this came at a cost. I have spent millions of dollars on ads, courses, programs, consultants, really to understand what works and what doesn't work. And I've made every possible mistake along that journey. So I can tell you exactly what works in 2026 and what's just fluff. So let's zoom back in time for a moment to 2020. Selling high-priced coaching offers was easy. People were flushed with cash. They had nothing to do because of the lockdowns, and they were questioning their lives and the trajectory of their lives en masse. Their willingness to invest in coaching programs and offers was through the roof. And even a mediocre offer could be generating between $30,000 and $50,000 a month. But after 2023, all of that changed. Banks started collapsing. If you remember Silicon Valley Bank, we had interest rates that were rising, and pretty soon people that were in the coaching space looking for coaches to really work with them and help them were terrified of spending money. What we started to see was that if somebody valued something as $1 before 2023, that same dollar now was so precious to them that they needed to get $3 of value in order to spend that same dollar. And all of those offers that were just mediocre and weren't doing well started to fall apart. And you saw a mass exodus of coaches with mediocre offers exit the entire industry. And even when I looked at our coaching offer prior to 2023, our offer was decent, but it wasn't magnificent. It wasn't transformative. What we started to see was that after 2023, people were just not looking for information anymore. They were looking for transformation, and they wanted to be sure that the coach or the program that they went with was going to deliver that transformation to them. And we had to reinvent our high-priced offers 4 times before we arrived at the exact formula, which I'm going to be sharing with you today. So bringing it back, as I mentioned, the shift went from people just wanting information and doing things themselves to people actually wanting some guarantee of transformation. And if they do invest with you in your high-priced offer, that they are going to get a transformative result at the end. So what we did was we took some of our offers, and I'm going to give you an example of our book offer. And we took some of our offers and really made sure what was actually making them tick. Now, we have an offer which is a book publishing offer, which if you're a coach or a consultant and you want to publish a book, prior to 2023, the way that offer worked was that we would guide you through a cohort style engagement over a number of months, and we would work with you to create your book, publish your book, and turn it into bestseller. But you would primarily be responsible for all of those outcomes. And so in the context of how do we take that which is being perceived as information and turn it into transformation, making the offer super irresistible, focus on the end result. We then looked into, okay, people that are buying this book offer, what do they actually want? And we summarized it in a single line. They wanted to become a best-selling published author. That's what they wanted. And so then we looked at, okay, what are the current barriers in our offering which are going to get in the way? Well, look, we can help you write a book, but you're still going to have to get it edited. You're still going to have to get it designed. You're still going to have to get it created. And then you're also going to need somebody to promote the book so that it becomes a bestseller as well. And so what we decided to do was we decided to say, okay, how can we make this offer irresistible? What if we did the editing for you so you didn't have to do it yourself? What if we took away all of that design work and did it all in-house for you? What if we ended up taking the promotional work away from you and doing that ourselves so that you basically just show up, write your content, the editing, the design, the publishing, and the promotion of the book was basically done for you? We then looked at the offer as a whole and we're like, well, this is completely irresistible. If somebody buys this, they basically buy becoming a bestseller at the end because we do all of the work. But then the problem came with the price. You see, the cohort we were charging $10,000 for, but now we're adding editing, we're adding designing, publishing, and promotion. We just couldn't do it at that same price point. So we said, okay, look, let's try something here. People want way more value. They still want the offer. They still want transformation. How about we try doubling the price with all of these extra things and see what happens? So we did it. We took that offer from $10,000, moved it to $20K, and offered it again to our clients, to the marketplace. The crazy thing was, I expected the conversion rates to be similar to what they were in 2022, 2021, 2020, but the conversion rates 2.5 times what they were even at the best years prior to 2023. And so then we recreated all of our offer stack based on this formula of taking something and looking at, they want transformation, how can we make this irresistible? And we'll go through this formula in a moment. Now, we had a client of ours, a guy called Mark Felstead. Now, Mark was a heart health coach. His story is amazing, right? He's a guy in his late 50s. He's an athlete. He runs triathlons. He's the fittest guy, fittest middle-aged guy that you'll ever meet. One day when he was running a triathlon, he fell down, dropped, and was declared clinically dead. Now, by divine providence or guidance or whatever you want to call it, 30 seconds behind him was a cardiologist who ended up reviving him. He woke up in hospital, his wife by his side, his daughter by his side, and was basically, what the hell happened, right? And they told him, you dropped dead. So he ended up just going on this journey of trying to figure out why was it that he ended up surviving a heart attack which had an 80% fatality rate. And what he realized was that he wanted to help other middle-aged men transform their heart health, right? Very powerful niche. So when he came to us, he created an offer. We created an offer with him, which was a cohort that people would go through. And prior to 2023, it was doing great. People would come in, they would pay the amount that he was charging, and things were going very, very well. But again, the same thing happened in that business as well. After 2023, people became much more careful about what they would be willing to actually spend their money on. So we took his offer and we looked into what is the core outcome that this person actually wants. And the core outcome, it's a middle-aged man who's scared of dying of a heart attack. That core outcome is they want to know, data-backed, that they have a healthy heart. Right? And so we looked at that core outcome and we started saying, well, what will make that transformation and that offer irresistible? Well, they need to go get their blood tests. Prior in the cohort, they had to do it themselves. What if Mark paid for them to do it? Great. They need to get a CAC scan for their heart. What if that was included in the program as well? They also need check-ins twice a week to 3 times a week. What if that was included in the program as well? And so we ended up adding all of these components into the program. We said, well, you know what? This program is now 10x better than what it was before. Let's try doubling the price. We did it. Same result happened. Conversion rate more than doubled even in the best years. So let's go through the formula of how you create the ultimate offer that works in 2026. So the very first step to creating an irresistible coaching offer is we start with who. This is the most fundamental thing that you can do. Who are you targeting and what are their core desires? Right? What are their core desires? From that point, we start looking into what are the barriers in the way of them actually achieving that core desire. And then we look at what can we put in place to really eliminate those barriers. And in the end, we have a transformational offer which works in 2026. So I'll give you an example of that. Let's say we take new fathers who have put on sympathy weight during their partner's pregnancy. So if you're a new father, you'll know exactly what I mean. For anyone that doesn't, sympathy weight is the weight that you gain when your partner is pregnant, right? So it's a wild thing. It actually happened to me. I put on 22 pounds, 10 kilos. It's crazy. And so we look at what are the core desires of a new father with sympathy weight? Well, it's to basically drop the pregnancy weight. That's what it is. And then we look at the barriers that are in the way. And so we have a bunch of different barriers that are going to be in the way of that. They're essentially in a new role as a father. All of their habits gone through the floor, meaning that every ritual and habit that they have is just no longer existent. For any parent out there, you'll know exactly what I mean. Their diet and their sleep are probably trash. And they don't have anyone that's holding them accountable. So we would then have to look as to what could be put in place to really help them eliminate those barriers. Okay, so if we look at it, accountability could be one, a nutrition plan could be another for the diet, right? A sleep wearable, right? Where they're actually tracking the quality of their sleep. An exercise routine is there. Somebody doing regular check-ins with them to hold them accountable. All of these elements you can put in place to knock off different elements of the barriers. And then afterwards, we have an offer which is not only irresistible, but actually sells. So to create an irresistible coaching offer in 2026, we have to look at the first thing, which is who you're targeting. What are their core desires? What are the barriers in the way? How can you really get rid of those barriers through the offer that you have? And then you have a transformative coaching offer, which will sell in 2026. So go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.